Welcome to our listeners. Welcome to our viewers. It's Monday, the 29th day of June. Yeah, it's Fisherman birthday too, right? Yeah, officially. Yeah. So good morning to the folks inside of the, how can I refer to it as the fishing capital of Grenada? Wharf? Is it the fishing capital?
I'm not so sure about that.
You think Subis do better than them?
Because St. Andrew.
What? Do more fish?
Do a lot of fish, yeah.
Oh, let us not get into that.
We won't get into that.
That's a conversation for
we won't get
what? For what? Because somebody else said, I just about going to call us over Guelph.
Gentlemen, good morning. Welcome. Hope everybody had a great weekend.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. I had one of those quiet weekends. Mm-hmm. Yeah, one of those quiet weekends. Didn't do much, but still get a lot done.
Right.
You know, you don't do much, but you could get a lot done, right?
Yeah.
That was the kind of weekend I had, and it was all good. So welcome to our listeners and viewers this morning. Welcome. It's To The Point. Good morning also to those of you who listen via our social media platforms, whether it's a Facebook page, YouTube channels. Good morning to you, and certainly hope you will have the time to chill with us for the next, 55 minutes or so. We have cricket coming up this morning, I think. Yeah, cricket continues this morning, right?
West Indies?
Sri Lanka and West Indies.
No, West Indies already won the match handsomely.
I didn't follow.
I am a cricket fan.
Didn't follow.
I'm a West Indies fan. West Indies have won.
Okay.
Handsomely.
Good.
I mean, they batted in the first inning. Man, they broke records.
I wonder if they didn't know what you would have been feeling like this morning.
What I was feeling? I don't show my emotion.
What would the momentum be? I didn't follow it.
I don't show my emotion when they lose.
You don't show no emotion when you lose?
No.
Well, I think the love should be both ways.
Both ways. It is.
We're not losing. They say we're not losing, you're supporting.
But when they lose, I'm not surprised.
Alright, so only cricket and fans, good morning. I was thinking it should be this one. I didn't follow, so forgive me for that.
Data Spear and so on.
Yeah.
I mean, hats off to them.
Alright, great.
And if Innocent was speaking on this, he'll tell you, well, there were two Joseph on the program, his cousins. I don't know where Innocent get that from.
Yep.
Azari Joseph and another Joseph, Innocent claim that these are his cousins because they're representing West Indies and doing well. So Innocent will have to find the bloodline.
He's grabbing onto family. Really.
Taking families because
family in front.
Yes.
That's good though.
Yeah.
That's good.
It's like this guy who won the blast the other day, and I met some guys and they tell me, "Boy, we're gonna look for a cousin."
Yeah. Okay.
That's how you get family easy like that, huh?
Yeah. But to be honest,
especially when you get to a position of fame.
Yeah.
Everybody's your family. Everybody's your cousin.
And technically, it may not be wrong because I asked somebody outside in the wider international community did ask me about Grenada and its population. Mm-hmm. And when I said the population is just around 110 to 115,000 people, I said that means that everybody knows everybody.
Yeah.
And then we found it out that there's something that goes around that says every Grenadian seems to be related. So sometimes when you're looking for a relationship, you better don't ask questions too far because everybody might just be related.
It's not the focus of a conversation, but one time I ran into that problem.
You
with a lovely young lady.
Yes.
Not knowing we were from colleague. It was a bit distant, and I was like, man.
Yeah.
And Roddy don't see the mom. And they I know that cousin thing.
Yes.
Sometimes I hate to talk about that, but that was like really funny. Mm-hmm. So sometimes it's good to take a bit of a background switch.
Yeah. Yes.
It's good for that. I ran into that problem myself one time in my life.
Yes. And Richard, don't speak if you had that problem.
I realize I'm quiet.
Yes. So but it's really nice. But sometimes you need to
do that little search.
And that's why it is also good to be very focused, very positive, and to know that you may have a relative out there, or that you might be affecting somebody. You don't represent the family well, and that people know you. The amount of people that say to me, "I know you, but I don't know you." I was like, "Really?" I met two gentlemen in Canada last year, and they said, "Mr. McIntyre, I know you very well, but I don't know you. I'm not, but I follow your program." And I was like, okay. So when you're out there, just as a regular person, if you are in public space, you have to be always mindful that you can have that impact and that influence. So it's good to be a positive person because Grenada is such a small society. You do something, GT, before you know it, people go find out that's the guy from GBN.
Yeah. I try to disguise sometimes, wear a cap, be a dark shade patch. Hey, you didn't get any program.
That's right. That's right.
You know, but it happens. It doesn't mean that you have to be disrespectful.
No.
You just say thank you and then you move on.
And you move on,
If
yes.
sometimes they try to push a conversation in where you may not want to entertain, but sometimes you just, you know, be minimal in terms of your response and just move on.
Yes.
So I try to do that most of the time.
Right. So don't disregard the chatter this morning to our listeners and our followers.
Yeah.
But a lot of people have expressed sometimes the opening intro or chatter, they enjoy the little exchange among us in terms of those kind of things. So
but you know, flowers is a thing that we engage in a lot in this segment.
Yes.
You know, any flowers you turned on this morning? Well, you gave West Indies their flowers already.
Of course, I had to do that. But I also want to, you know, say that, I had a very, really, very full weekend. And I didn't realize that it was Monday, to be honest.
Yeah.
And
Came quickly.
And then the end of the month, June 29, Fisherman Birthday is right on us.
Yeah. And
then the weekend was kind of a busy too. I had a domestic issue where my third grandchild, the mother was threatened very seriously in the U.S. You know, she was hospitalized after giving birth to my third grandchild, and she was hospitalized critical. But today, give God thanks. After she had a C-section, and she was hemorrhaging kind of profusely, I want to just say love to them and give thanks. She's out of hospital today, and you know, God has saved the day.
Okay, good.
In addition to that, the moment over the weekend as well, June 29, I remember my daughter's mom was buried on the 29th of June, just 3 years ago.
Okay.
So it brought back that feeling, and my daughter takes it on a bit sometimes. The death on the 29th of May and the burial on the 29th of June, so she kind of goes within that. So I had those full weekend to deal with, but outside of that, the garden and so forth, I planted some stuff. I planted sorrel.
Did you plant a spice tree yesterday? Did you get an opportunity?
No, I did not, but I probably have not lost it.
Yeah.
But I'm saying all that to say, with even the planting, the flowers to the Homecoming Diaspora Initiative.
Yes.
I think that's going well. They have a few Ambassador Forrester and your team. Flowers to you guys for the diaspora. A lot of people have been expressing a lot of gratitude towards that process. Some people are embracing the investment opportunities from being in diaspora, and they can invest in their own country. That is really, really good. The spice planting initiative and all that, and now they've announced the distribution to farmers in general. So I'm going to be capitalizing on some of those plans to do as well. In terms of other flowers, I don't know if and I want to give the Ministry of Tourism as well. Our Grenada Tourism Authority, not just ministry, the GTA, the little bit of flowers. I think they're embarking on riding on the wave of trying to, you know, produce Grenada or to continue to highlight Grenada as a real good tourism destination. The aspect of the spice is something that is a bit of innovation, and the terms of alternative and diversifications in terms of promoting Grenada for different activities, that again is something we need to really look for. And the final bit of flowers, I didn't remember speaking about it. GT, one of the things we spoke about in our program before, the carnage. The boats that were touched there.
That used to be, especially that going all the way up to the
boated and so on along there. And then there was this move to remove them. And they were removed. Man, and that site is so beautiful now walking across.
I would agree.
However, I mean, I was planning not to raise it, but yesterday on the Carnage, somebody raised a matter with me of a Spanish boat. A wreck. That's in the middle of the Carnage.
It's now, right now?
Right now.
Okay.
I saw it for myself, and the guy was like, when you go on the program tomorrow, make sure and talk about it.
Okay, good. So you speak about it. So
we want to get it removed.
Yes, and in the past you would have seen the pollution of the oils and the garbage from those vessels.
You're not seeing that.
And the schooners that they just throw them out there and so forth. That was unsightly. That was really, really cool.
I'm happy to see that. I mean, I'm a walk on mornings in the early mornings.
Course.
Early mornings, if I walk the Carnage on mornings sometimes, and it's the sight is be able to see. Now that the boats are out. You understand? I love seeing that.
And so I think it could be enhanced now. With some rails. I think they should put some guardrails and protective rails along that edge so that people who are walking can feel a sense of. I remember. Sorry for this though. I remember my daughter was walking across the one and she fell. Coming off high school.
Into the water.
She did fall into the water.
Okay.
And I mean, it was like a big laugh for her other student colleagues, but it was kind of scary because she can't swim.
That's where I learned to swim.
Right. So there could be other people who could be exposed to that. And maybe, I don't know if somebody's gonna kind of take me up for that, but there are some people who do some like sport fishing sometime around the carnage. It could be a nice thing to see some people just hanging there and throw a line in the water and just wheeling in and so on. You may not catch a lot, but the whole aspect of breaking a momentum and doing on the carnage in the evening, twilight kind of moment.
I would like to see a particular area dedicated for that though.
Okay.
I probably would like to see that.
Okay.
Because sometimes I'm walking and there are numerous of them there.
Right.
And they sort of, hindering your pleasure walking. So maybe there's a particular area. Maybe
closer to the old Treasury building section of there with not a lot of pedestrians.
Would not be walking.
Right.
I probably would be a better area to do that. Maybe a little jetty or something could be made, put in the water. They could go outwards a little bit and do this stuff. That's just a recommendation.
No, but that's cool.
You understand? So they could be built so that they could go out a little bit more and do their stuff. That being on that sidewalk area and you trying to pass them while they're doing that. It's sometimes a little bit of an inconvenience.
So while our niche areas would be road traffic safety and disaster risk reduction, all of that has its implication for road safety. Because if you have a safe walking space, it means that you don't have to veer off too much in the roadway. And I think the whole aspect of the Coronage should be expanded all the way into the Corona James Boulevard. They did some work there, and I think it could be enhanced a bit more. Maybe they can do some boulders along the edge, or build the edge a little bit better with some boulders and some palm or small trees and coconut and so forth.
I mean, going to the Corona James Boulevard.
Yes, along.
Well, I did see the representative for the South had of course, a vision for something to be developed there.
A boardwalk.
But that seemed to have stayed a bit.
I know. So maybe we'll see that happening in the near future if they come to fruition. But that would be a great idea in terms of a park area for folks to be. I'm not sure what the park, in my opinion, for there.
Right.
But it could be enhanced in a way that folks should use it for other reasons.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
Get folks off the road area that you could walk. Use that direction to walk. Maybe that walk from there all the way to the carnage as you mentioned. You understand?
Yes. And I wish they would just take up those big old ugly culverts on the side there with the trees they put in them and put something else. Maybe plant the trees or something that look better than those culverts. I mean, they could beat me up for that. I really don't mind, but I don't think the culverts they look good.
I agree with you too.
I think they could remove those and enhance the area a little bit better than that.
It cannot take away the aesthetics of there.
I don't think so.
I mean, sometimes folks try things to see if it would create enhancement, but sometimes it not always work.
And it's good to get the feedback from the people. Listen to, our program is really what it is because we have contributions from the people, the callers and everybody else who feed our program with feedback from them. And finally, in this segment is basically the chatter segment with the flaws and everything else. I would not rest until the overpass on the Morris Bishop Highway is built, or they started, because I'm seeing every day I drive there. I mean, I have to pass that way, unfortunately, and I see the risk of people going across that road, and my God, again, the use of the policeman, use that money to pay a warden, pay just a regular person who might do it voluntarily, sometimes to help cross. But I think if we have them do something more law enforcement and create that overpass, trust me.
I'm willing to go on a protest if you would like it to.
We probably have to do that. I think for the next anniversary of
just a funny moment, but I'm willing to go on a protest because I think it's needed.
I think
I know there may be
but protest has a different form. You could just like.
I mean, it could be a quiet protest, just like what we want to see happen. And sometimes in a situation like that, or a particular event like that, could spur faster movement.
Of course.
Because if what you want to talk, or we just talk on the radio, and folks are not seeing immediate action are taken towards pushing what you want to have done. Sometimes you get no movement.
Right.
You understand? Good. Sometimes staying quiet does not cause things to happen. Especially there are things that you can stay quiet about, but sometimes there are things you just need to add your voice in that public settings to get something done.
Of course.
To get it done.
Of course.
Before you break, I have some flowers.
Yeah.
The organizers of the Pan Fest.
Last night.
Last night event.
It was an excellent event, well packaged and well executed.
All right.
And it's growing.
Okay.
It's growing. I must say, it was very impressive.
All right, great. I mean, stuff like that, we could have more of it. I would like to see it going around the island, though. Think of it.
Mopan stuff.
Going around the island. Sometimes it's called for St. George's only, but we can see it.
Because we have the bomb tune competition in St. George's. We have Pan in the Sun St. George's. Yes.
Maybe events like that could move around throughout the year.
By doing that, you create an interest around the island.
Exactly. Because sometimes you get the feeling, maybe not, I mean, it could be wrong, but people put a lot of focus into Pan only around Carnival season is approaching.
Yeah.
You understand? You get that public drive towards it.
Yeah.
Carnival is approaching. So maybe the organizers, maybe one is St. Andrews, St. Mark's, just take it around the island and see what the impact would be.
And of course, the youngest band was there from St. David's.
Yes.
The Corinthians.
Yes.
Along with the Prime Minister, the MP. With his
but you had to give Dashiki some flowers, man. Dashiki is a man that really working to help the Pan to revive them up there. Of course. Yeah, man.
Prior to that, it was an angel, perhaps a ranger.
All right. Okay. All right. The battle started. Well, let's take that break, gentlemen. We're coming right back. Stay with us. We're getting to some stand-up conversation when we return. Don't touch it down.
Life doesn't stand still. It moves. It grows. It asks you to believe in what's next. Your first car. Owning your home. The business you build. The future you choose to invest in. Life moves in steps. When you're ready to take the next one, we're here to help you move forward with banking solutions designed for life. From vehicle financing and mortgages to education savings, credit solutions, and support for your growing business. Republic Bank, ready for life, every step.
The Ministry of Agriculture White Potato Production Initiative is an OECS sub-regional project aimed at reducing Grenada's reliance on imported white potatoes, which in 2025 had an imported value of over 4.5 million EC dollars. The White Potato Production Initiative is part of the Ministry of Agriculture's food security drive and is being undertaken with the simultaneous cultivation of other crops such as sweet potatoes, pineapples, coconuts, carrots, and other vegetables. Other OECS countries like Dominica and St. Vincent and the Grenadines are already at an advanced stage in white potato production, with Dominica completely cutting the import of white potatoes during the first quarter of 2026. Grenada is now preparing to advance production for better output in 2027. The Ministry of Agriculture, Lands and Forestry, ensuring food and nutrition security for all.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers, once again. To the point, Classic Radio GBN TV. We have Sylvan McIntyre with us this morning. We have Mr. McPhail with us also here on today's program. And of course, we continue our conversation as we do every Monday in relation to, of course, traffic. Spend a lot of time on that. Activities of seismic nature. We're talking about that is going to be a bit of a dominant conversation we're going to have this morning, knowing what we saw happen a few days ago.
Yes.
And we're going to talk a whole lot about that. So I'll get the opportunity opportunity. Let's move on.
Okay, so last week we jumped on the need to advise people or to remind people that during the rainy season that there's a different kind of approach to driving.
Yes.
To ensure you have better road safety. We spoke of the vehicle, the effects of the wheels, the atmospheric conditions, and how they can affect, and even we spoke about the quality of tires, all these that should be relevant to the time and area of on the globe in which you function. And so the season itself, both the carnival season and the hurricane season, it's almost double jeopardy.
Yeah.
So people tend to lose their focus. They forget it is sometimes the hurricane season, that they have weather conditions where you have thick mists, and in some cases people call it fog, that may exist that would create some impact on the driving. And in addition to that, because the rainy season, and so the road surface, landslides or land slippage and so on will become more prevalent, rockfall and everything, and people don't really cater for that. So it is our business to ensure from the AMSAFER, the Ashley McIntyre Safety Foundation for Roads, to remind people that around this time you should sharpen your awareness, become more alert, become more conscious of what you do from home into the vehicle, into the job place and back.
Yeah.
And that is important. Yeah. And it involves also the checking of your vehicle to ensure that conditions are safe, that the fuel levels and everything else and liquids that you really need, that you're up to a particular level so that you have peak performance when you need to have it.
I agree with you on that.
And we did speak about vehicles, whether you need to warm them up or start them up and do all of these things. The pre-checks is critical in getting on the road, and we had some good feedback on that. But it lends itself into what we are seeing, as we mentioned, double jeopardy. The traffic report this morning indicated that there was an increase in accidents over the weekend.
Yes.
And that in itself speaks volume. Despite the amount of information that is going out from our program and from the police traffic department themselves, people seem not to be really adhering to some condition. We're seeing a lot of back into front or front into back accidents, meaning people are hitting from behind quite a bit. It is really indicating that there are a couple of things happening. People's level of awareness inside the vehicle, they could be distracted. In addition to that, it could be the road condition. Another factor could be the influence of substances like alcohol and drugs and so on that people use. And I wish to say that I spoke about drugs. There seems to be a different atmosphere that exists from the time the decriminalization and the legalization partial of the cannabis conversation came on. The whole atmosphere, and I would wish to see a bit more rigorous education system. It must be continuing a bit more. I think they should be beating the airwaves a bit more with the information, because people, the average person who may not be very well learned to an extent, because we have quite a bit of them outside in our communities who they are followed from school, or otherwise they did not even want to attend school in some cases. And so your level of education and your level of consciousness and interpretation is affected by what's going on. Yeah. So it needs a lot more breakdown in terms of advising people against the use and the abuse of those substances. And people tell that this conversation started to become a bit more free. Yeah. They seem to be puffing, and they understand it's still an offense to be using in public space.
I agreed. I'm seeing folks having the use of this, like it's not getting diverted from our conversation, but I have noticed it where it seems to be free for all now, in terms of the use of it. People are driving and these cigarettes, and you can get the odor while they're driving, and you're not supposed to be doing that in public.
You should not supposed to be doing that in public. And I would tell you, from a psychological, psychosocial aspect of it, and even medical to an extent, it does have effect on your intellectual and mental capacity. And people tend not to underplay that. As a matter of fact, substance abuse, anything that you abuse or you do in excess, would affect your cognitive ability, especially if you're driving or you're handling any instrument. If you're working a machine or you're driving or anything and so on, and those substances do have different effects, sometimes on people, and stronger. And the amount of it sometimes does have effect and different. So that there's a whole bigger campaign that we really need to make people become more conscious that you just cannot, that it is still illegal to do or to be involved, and especially in public, and how it can affect people's your temperament, your control ability, and once you abuse those substances, your equilibrium, your vision, and all of that, it would be affected. And I think we need more. And in some cases, when people fume up their vehicles and they smoke up their stuff, they say smoke up the tampi and so forth, it sometimes could lend itself. And I wish that our statistics a bit more. I've seen quite a bit of improvement from the traffic department in their reporting.
Yes.
They give indicators as to some of the causes of accidents and where they're occurring a bit more frequently and so forth. And that is important. But we want the statistics now to be able to let us know the people who are prosecuted, and I think that was raised in a program a couple of days ago, for the use of gadgets when traveling, and the use of people who are under the influence. Speaking under the influence again, which include alcohol, is one of the things that we're going to see that could happen around this festive season. And I think the law has to be revisited in terms of what you call the alcohol microgram levels in persons. I think Grenada's standard is in the 70s, and across some of the other territories in the way 20s and 30s, etc. And that is something that needs to be revisited. The testing process for persons who are suspected to be under the influence, I think that has to become more rigorous. I think police officers have to become more outfitted with those fill kits to be able to test people, because there is a period of time within which the alcohol level, the microgram level, will decrease if the test is not done within a particular space of time. And it has to be a first, and it has to be a second confirmatory, which is what the court really used to determine sometime a decision. And I know in this instance, the matter with my son, the person who killed my son was believed to have been under the influence. And when he was tested, he was at one level, and at another time when he was tested, it was another level. And the time that it took to carry that first test left a lot to be desired. Okay. So all of these conditions, and the judge expressed in her sentencing that had something to do with how she meshed out the sentence. Okay. That was clear. Oh. But when that was revealed, that the alcohol level at the second testing were within the legal amount, that had something to do with the weight of what the punitive measure was going to be. So it is critical that those measures are really looked into, and it is very critical that our enforcers understand and enforce a bit more the time factor, so it becomes a deterrent to people who would cause the life of others. Yeah. We don't know, again, maybe I shouldn't, in terms of, I mean, the case is finished, whether or not that was the factor that eventually led to me having lose my son. But what we're saying, that coming out of that, we don't want other people to lose their lives because somebody overindulged in some substance, they create accidents and it become fatal. Yeah. So we're saying that going into the deeper into the hurricane season and into Grenada's festive season of Carnival, that there should be an upscale in terms of law enforcement. And we are willing, from our point of view, any way we can assist in terms of ensuring that the limitation that the police may have, if they need assistance in accessing some of those, there are persons who are willing, maybe from outside of Grenada, to be able to provide some instruments so that, the police, they can be outfitted and they can do rapid testing of persons when they suspect them. And that will definitely be a strong deterrent.
I would say too, before you tap it, I think we need a more heavier promotion now in terms of the, whether it's via billboards or even radio promotions. Mm-hmm. This should be pounded into the air on the airwaves in terms of the drinking and driving.
Yes.
And something you mentioned that I think is there's been a lull in terms of the impact on it that it used to have.
Right.
The use of gadgets while individuals are driving.
Okay.
I am noticing a lot of folks are driving and their phone is in their air.
Yes.
There's a serious increase in that. Okay. And I'm noticing folks are doing it in the presence of the police also. And nothing has been done to most of them. You understand? I've watched folks driving through the towns and there's a phone in the air.
Wow.
You understand? And sometimes that distraction that it brings you almost bump into somebody. And I have noticed almost 2 accidents over the weekend. And the reason is because folks are on their phone.
And I heard of people who had accidents because they were on their phone.
They're on their phone.
And they may have stopped in traffic. They get on the phone, put it on the phone, and just realize they just press on the accelerator and immediately just bump into something. Oh, that's happened so many times.
Yeah. So I think that's where we should have a heightened awareness. No.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes these things have started and then they die down for some reason.
I think now is a good time.
Now is a good time where
especially with the season coming.
This way there's no way folks to kind of get the fun rolling through your mind. I should not be drinking and driving.
Yes.
I should not be using my gadget in that particular way. If your phone could Bluetooth to your phone, I still think to your radio within your car, and I still think that is a distraction.
It is because you look at it.
You're driving and then you're talking, and somehow you get distracted, depending on the nature of the conversation you're having. You may not have the phone in your ear, but the conversation you have it distracts you.
Somebody, you imagine you driving there, and somebody give you a nice joke on the phone, and you just crack up,
and you bow your head,
and you bow your head, and you forget that you drive. No,
it's laughable, but it's serious, huh?
No, it does.
It's laughable. We're laughing at it, but it is serious.
Yeah.
You know, so I think a little bit of hype and awareness should be out now. I think, you know, even the traffic departments, the various ministries that could put these things together should get into getting some promos done to just enlighten folks. Hey,
as a matter of fact, GT, an expansion of that, because it is the carnival season. We have the Power Soca prelims and things starting, I think, from Thursday of this week.
Yeah.
So Thursday, Friday, and it's going around the country, which is cool. I think they should offer an incentive to Calypsonians, soca artists, groovy artists.
They come up with something in the instant.
Every one of them. Give them, I'd say to you, as part of, you know, you participating in Carnival, you must just do an aspect of either road safety issue, substance abuse, something. Just do something. Plug it in at the events.
Especially those that have that level of influence.
Yes.
On the younger generation, or even the older folks who do the same foolishness at times.
Yes.
But you have a level of influence. Imagine, a particular artist that who's a bit influential in his music. He or her is coming out and saying, "Hey, don't be drinking and driving." This is coming from this particular artist.
Yes. And maybe we can make it an annual event where there is a competition for the best slogan. The best slogan coming from an artist, a Calypsonian or groovy person. Every year have it, make it competitive, give them an opportunity to create something every year so that people already listen to Calypso, they will listen to that information and become more conscious.
And have it broadcast at the various mediums.
I think it's
have it broadcast, and folks will get out. And this is important. I would think this is important.
That could be a nice thing.
Could be important. Gentlemen, we do for a break. Let's take it. And we come back. We continue the conversation. Yes, when we come back. Stay with us, folks. It's To The Point, Classic Radio, GBN TV. We will be right back after the short break. Don't touch it out.
Emancipation Weekend, Freedom Takes the Sea. The Media Workers Association of Grenada invites you aboard Unscripted, the Freedom Edition, Friday, July 31st. Step into an unforgettable night of music, vibes, culture, and connection aboard the ultimate summer cruise experience. Meet your favorite media personalities, party under the stars, and celebrate freedom the unscripted way aboard the Ecstasy. Boarding is at 7 p.m., sailing at 8 p.m. Dress code Freedom Chic. Bold Bold, stylish, unapologetically you. Tickets are limited and going fast. Get your tickets online at GoToFet and at recognized ticket outlets. Unscripted, the Freedom Edition, because the best stories are the ones you never planned.
For Grenada to realize its true potential, we must all be a part of nation building. From every corner of the world, our sons and daughters carry the spirit of the Spice Isle in their hearts through culture, innovation, investment, and service. Now is the time to come home to your beautiful Tri-Island state to reconnect with our roots, share our knowledge, to inspire our youth, and to help shape a stronger, more resilient economy for generations to come. We are all part of the collective journey to shape the future of our nation. Together, we are building a nation we are proud of, a nation defined by opportunity, unity, and purpose. Grenada is more than a place on the map. It is our heritage, our future, our home. We look forward to welcoming you.
Welcome back to our listeners. Welcome back to our viewers. To the point here on Classic Radio and GBN TV. Gentlemen, welcome back. You know, our substantive conversation between this segment, we want to talk about the recent seismic activity that are going on. We heard what happened in Venezuela.
Yeah.
The last couple of days. I was looking at the news over the weekend, and you know, almost more than 1,500.
Yeah.
Almost close to 1,500.
It's
close to 2,000 now?
Yeah.
Well, the last time I peeped, it was 1,500. Almost 70,000 still, you know, unaccounted for. Unaccounted for.
Well, the good news is yesterday they found a woman and an infant.
I heard about that also.
Yeah.
How concerned we should be still? It may not have affected us here in Grenada, but, you know, Venezuela ain't that far away from us.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
And noticing them getting a back-to-back in terms of the timing could have been a reason for the level of the destruction that we felt. How concerning is that? How concerning is that, Mr. McIntyre?
Yeah.
That, as you know, I was listening to someone who is in the particular field from a particular university, and they were saying there's still no way to predict.
Yeah.
You know, earthquake. Yeah. With all the technology there is in the world today, you can't predict it. You know, they can't predict when that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Not at the second or the moment before it, you can't predict it.
Yeah.
How concerned should we be? Are we to pay more attention to these activities in the world today, sir?
Yeah, very. But yeah,
go ahead.
No. I just wanted to premise. Don't lose your train of thought. So I just wanted to say that to listeners and viewers that anytime you see me appear with this shirt, Caribbean Disaster Risk Management Solution, there's going to be an aspect of disaster risk reduction because that's and this morning, based on the events. We should be very concerned of the recent events that happened just around us. But Richard, before I think you had a point, but before I go in, because when I start, I will go for a bit.
All right. No, I was about to make the point that we were told that in the latter days there shall be earthquakes
in diverse places.
And diverse been
many. Okay.
And so it's not just Venezuela.
Right.
Last week.
Right.
There were shocks felt in Antigua.
Yeah.
Guadeloupe.
Yeah. Trinidad.
Well, Jamaica as well.
Yeah.
Right. So the entire Caribbean got shook last week.
Shaken. Yeah.
There was one in California.
Yeah.
You know, as well as in the Philippines, I think there was another one. So we find it occurring so often.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm in contact with someone from the Grenadian community in Caracas.
Yeah.
Who said to me that, thank God, the folks that he knows, they are all safe.
Right.
Because the area that they are, they were not affected.
Right.
You know, but it's cause for concern.
Yeah, and Grenada has a community in Venezuela.
7.5
yeah.
is not an easy
earthquake.
figure.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, coming from a 7.1 or 7.2 to get a second being a 7.5.
Yeah.
So imagine what the 0.1 has done
right?
before in terms
Yeah.
of structurally, and then the 5 hitting you after is going to cause some chaos there.
I thought it was like 5 minutes, but only to realize 45 seconds.
Yes.
Between them, you know.
So it has to be a bit of concern for us here in Grenada. And when we speak of our seismic activity, we speak of incidences occurring as a result of movements within the Earth's crust. For instance, volcanoes, earthquakes, and other events where heat and pressure is related. Those do create some concerns and some hazards and disasters to a large extent. But I think it is important for some time for us to premise and give a little understanding as to how these things are generated, because Grenada itself, we are very seismically active. And we are very seismically active because we have Kikamjeni as one of the key volcanoes around, submarine volcano. And then we also have Kikam Jack that sits right next to Kikam Jenny. That is also a hazard. And then we have St. Catherine on mainland, which is also a live and active volcano that also can create some problems. So we are within Grenada and the Caribbean very seismically active. But the premise against earthquakes. Now, earthquakes are generated from one level because of the movement of the tectonic plates upon which the Caribbean sit. And the Caribbean tectonic plates, they are kind of unique. They're mainly what you call oceanic. So they're mainly water-based. And so those plates, they move from time to time, and they were called the subduction plates. And so, and understanding that those plates are massive, what you call, it's molten rocks and so on, or levels of or like sheets that move around. They form the outer level of the earth, technically. And so those plates within the Caribbean, they move. Venezuela, Trinidad, and so forth. They sit at a precarious point where those subduction plates meet each other when they move. So as they move, they hit against each other, and sometimes the movement is so violent that you get earthquakes that are very strong.
Yes.
And that could generate, sometimes you have movement within the water that can generate tsunami. So if you have the plate that moves so forcefully and it drops so low, it could displace a huge body of water that can generate tsunami.
Yes.
If you have it coming closer to the surface or closer to the land, you have huge displacement of land space. And in some cases, like I was in Haiti in 2010 for that massive earthquake, and to be honest, there was huge displacement of land space. Road was separated by meters because you have all, and I looked down and I can see like a valley down where streets were connected. And so you had similar situation happening in Venezuela. And so you mentioned the Caribbean having all those earthquakes or tremors in frequency across. You mentioned the biblical linkage of the in the latter days, earthquakes in diverse places. Well, it also has to do with a lot of physical changes, climatological as well as atmospheric conditions that exist that make it becomes easier for these things to occur. So we have earthquakes that can occur because of the movements of the plates, and then we have them that could occur, again, they kind of are interlinked. Sometimes when you have those movements, you have folding and faulting within the Earth's crust that creates volcano pressure to be released. And so you have volcano evolving, erupting as a result of those movements. The pressure sometimes within those volcanic activities also can generate tremors, because when we were monitoring the volcano in St. Vincent, there were quite a number of tremors that were existing, meaning the lighter ones sometimes they use the word interchangeably, tremors and quake. The tremors sometimes, most of the time, relate to the smaller shaking and movements that one has. And when you have a stronger earthquake, you have the smaller ones that follow up, you call them the aftershock. In this instance, you had a 7.2 and a 7.5 earthquake. I've never heard about a twin earthquake in my entire life.
Yeah.
You've heard about earthquakes, and then you hear about aftershocks. Some of the aftershocks, they are sometimes almost as strong as the one that came before.
Right, and with a lot of time between.
A lot of time between.
A lot of time between them.
But in this case, this was not
normal.
This was not normal. So it was not an aftershock. It was a separate earthquake. So there were two earthquakes back to back technically.
Yeah.
That is no easy thing to resist.
Right.
And are we as a community, as an island in the southern hemisphere, are we out of it? We're not. So it is always a good thing to say, like, when your neighbor house is on fire, you need to be able to wet yours.
Yes.
We are very exposed here in the Caribbean, and as you mentioned earlier on, earthquakes cannot be predicted, regardless of what has happened in the past. The knowledge, God always has His way of limiting certain things that man may go as far. We understand AI is doing as much as they could. They're making dolls and women and men and so forth now close to human, but God has never given them the formula for making life in itself and preserving life that you cannot die. You're right to the point. So there are some things that the science is what happens otherwise is beyond the science. But bring back home, we have to be able to do things to prevent what or to limit what we cannot avoid or prevent. So earthquakes are likely to happen. There are indicators that can tell you when an earthquake is likely to happen, a stronger one, but you cannot predict exactly when it will occur. So, for instance, if you have a volcano that is acting up, you look you have what you call the seismograph. So the seismograph monitors the movement within the earthquake, and it shows level. Now, when an earthquake occurs, the strength of it is registered on the Richter scale. So there's a scale that tells you it is on 5, 2, 3, kind of a so. But in the Caribbean, you realize from NADMA's point of view, they sent out a bulletin to everybody and Met Office as well. Met Office through NADMA indicating that there is no tsunami warning or imminent threat technically. What that has said is that our early warning system is intact.
Okay.
Yes.
So once an earthquake registers 6 beyond on the Richter scale, it means therefore that it is likely that a tsunami can be generated
in quick time.
Yes, in quick time. So anytime, but the average person on island or someplace, he doesn't have any way of measuring whether or not an earthquake is 6, 7, or 8.
No, we can't.
So the point,
able to do that.
The point in preventing that aspect, and that is public information and reaction, is that if you feel a very strong quake, you don't know whether it's 6, 5, 7, or otherwise, your intention is to believe and feel that a tsunami is likely to be generated. So if you are on the seacoast or in low-lying areas, you should look out for either the receding of the sea or otherwise, and the forward movement. If you're in a position where you can see the sea coming back to you, really and truly, you're dead.
How important is time factor with that also, Mr.
Critical, because a tsunami-generated wave comes with what you call supersonic speed. And that is like those B-52s and those bombers, a jet that you see pass, and a tsunami will be generated. So seldom anybody who is close to a coastline, if you see the sea coming back to you, you are alive. You will be dead. And so that's why it is important that people understand the early warning system, and not just the warning system, but to know what to do. So information relative to understanding that if you feel a strong quake, you should move to the highest ground, because likely a tsunami is going to be generated. But if your building shakes violently, again, it speaks of the engineering designs. In Grenada, we have a lot of houses built on high pillars and on stilts. Higher buildings are very susceptible, they're very vulnerable to shake and tremors. They're going to come down, they're going to buckle. And God has blessed us so much that we have not had those quakes. In Trinidad, that last earthquake has caused some land space to emerge, to come up from below. Where it says that the pressure, and there seems to be some movement, and we have to be mindful. We're very close to Trinidad. There might be some effects here that may have happened to us that we don't even understand. we do have fault lines that exist, and fault lines are simply what you call the weak spots within the connection of the land space, the rocks and so forth. And when you have fault lines, it is very likely that you can have land slippage, road break, etc., or you can have rock fall occurring. So it is now for us to be a bit more attentive. Even if we did not have cracked buildings or elevated land space or otherwise, or obvious movement in the land space, it is important for us to become more vigilant, to look out. Rocks may fall. Landslide may become a thing, because as the rain starts to fall, it could make it easier for that to happen. And in our home spaces and so forth, we have to ensure that you don't build and not you stock things in your house above a particular height, especially where you're sleeping and so on. You know, some in the small places, go in the diaspora in those communities, and people living in small room, and all around them is suitcases and barrels and television all over, and they could trap you. So we're saying, especially in places where public have to access, that things are not at a particular height. So because we are so vulnerable in the Caribbean, one, if you are on the seacoast, you have to have such things at a certain level. They tell you don't put it too low. Then we're still exposed to earthquake. Don't put it too high. So exactly what height should
we going to get that medium? How are we going to
find the middle space and understand those preparedness measures that, especially, well, if you're living on a coastline like Subies and Mackay and those places, that's on the Atlantic side. You're very exposed. You can have, so you should always have things maybe in waterproof containers, so you could move with them. And if the water comes at a certain level, it could still be safe. But heavy things should not be stored at above shoulder level.
At an elevated level, that if it slips, it could damage you. You know, so.
And if, let me just crung it off before we take one or two calls. We might be able to get 2 calls in.
We may be able to get a call or 2 in. Not sure we're going to do it today, but we'll see.
Because of what's happening, we could expand on that in the future. But I just wanted to say before we accept the call that if you feel the violence shaking at any time you are within a structure, you have to balance it. There's kind of a drop, cover, and hold. You drop low, you cover your head because your head is most vulnerable. In most cases, that if the head is out.
Is it the DCH they call it?
Yeah, well, drop, cover, hold. Yes. So you drop close to a structure. Do not stand up in an open space. It's always easier if you're close to a doorway. You get within the doorway or to the side of the wall, because most times things cave in, it cracks and make coming. So a lot more of that preparedness measures we could emphasize on it, because while we are in the hurricane season, other things can happen.
Okay.
It always puzzles me, why stand in a doorway?
And I could explain. There are something called linens that goes across the doorway. They are built like across pillars or columns. They're strong. They're stronger. In addition, so they would hold against the other structure if something happened to collapse wrong. And that is evidentially, you see a lot of structure. In addition to that, the doorway is an obvious space that if you're trapped, that rescuers will try to find. So that space technically will always have a vacuum. So where those spaces are, if things crumble around within those spaces, there most likely will be a little bit of space, and it gives responders a focal point to try to enter, and they understand that we are likely to be, so it is at one of the safer places.
Okay.
All right. Explained?
All right.
Roger.
Gentlemen, I think we may have to wrap for today. We may not be able to accommodate calls today on the program for time reasons. So anything in closing before we take a wrap this morning?
Well, in closing, I think I should have done that at the beginning. Friday was my father's birthday.
Well, happy belated to Daddy.
I should have done that.
He had enjoyed
at the beginning. That's the day he was born, but his official birthday is the 29th of June.
Okay, great. Today? Yes. Okay, good. So in wrapping, though, we want to expand on more disaster preparedness issues. We don't want to speak about only hurricanes. We want to speak about floods and all those seismic activities, and especially business, places, and so on. I know some people would want to do their preparedness business continuity to ensure that if something happens, you can stay in business. It's something we can provide some support for. But I want to say we have the other risk with us of Carnival. And the I'm Safer Foundation, we have a first responders, first aid team of persons that we will be using for the carnival
season.
We'll focus on the Juve as one of it, and possibly the Monday night and the Tuesday last lap.
Okay.
We'll have a conspicuous position where you would see first aid, first responders. We will have medical persons and therapists, that physios that will be able to assist in the event. So I'm making an appeal here open for if you're a retired doctor, nurse, or other person, EMT or otherwise, who would want to be able to give those support. Or if you're just maybe a medical student or somebody who's pursuing and you wish to...
And you have that available time?
Yes, please. Come out with us. We would be positioned. We would be there to support the police response and the hospital response teams that will be there. In the event that things do happen, there'll be people close at hand that can render some quick assistance.
All right. Gentlemen, that's what we're going to take a wrap for today. Pleasure as always. It's always a pleasure to have you both on the program and speaking about, of course, issues of that nature.
Yes.
And I know there are listeners and viewers out there who have picked up a lot. And they do understand how important it is in terms of safety also. Yes. And for the drivers out there, please drive along with that due care and attention, as we always preach that, and show that love to the other drivers.
Yes.
Yeah, show that love. Until we do this next week again,
God's willing.
Thank you both once again.
Welcome.
Hey folks, that's what we're going to take a wrap for today's edition of To The Point. I want to thank everyone who contributed to today's program. Have a good one, folks. Be with you again tomorrow. Have a good one. Goodbye.